Afternoon, you are watching Pan-African News. My name is Ivy Dede Narkie. Now let's look at some important headlines of the day. Defeated Hohoi NDC parliamentary candidate appeals Supreme Court ruling in favor of Amewu. Alexa Fenyomarkin defends armed invasion of Ghana's parliament. Teachers and Educational Workers Union meet with Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to resolve issues on improved conditions of service. Ahead in business, Kasapreko declares readiness to capitalize on the Continental Free Trade incentives. And on our international front, Ugandan's ruler Museveni defends violent crackdown in bid for sick Teye. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. We are live across 46 African countries and some countries in Europe. Don't go anywhere. We bring you details of these stories, including business, sports, entertainment. Don't go. The news in detail. The defeated NDC parliamentary candidate for Hohoi constituency and 4 other interested parties have filed an appeal to the Supreme Court seeking a review of the court's decision to overturn the whole High Court's order against former Energy Minister John Peter Amewu. In a 44-page statement of case filed of the Apex Court by their legal representatives, Emil Achu Agbeke, Professor Margaret Kweku and others highlighted about 18 grounds of fundamental errors made by the Supreme Court to quash the High Court's order.
The petitioner stated that the Supreme Court fundamentally erred when it referred to the right to vote as a provision falling within the directive principles of state policy under the Constitution. The Supreme Court is also faulted for invoking its supervisory powers against the whole High Court when the court was enforcing the human rights law within its jurisdiction. Some residents of Santrokofi, Akpafu, Likbe, and Lolobi dragged Hohoi MP-elect John Peter Amewu and the Electoral Commission to the whole High Court. They contend by not being allowed to vote in the just-ended parliamentary elections, their rights have been breached. They secured a 10-day injunction against the gazetting of John Peter Amewu as the winner of the polls. After the hearing, the court on December 23, 2020, issued an order restraining Peter Amewu from holding himself out as Member of Parliament elect for Hohoi constituency. Deputy Attorney General Godfred Yabua then filed an application at the Supreme Court urging it to restrain the whole High Court from hearing the matter. He maintained the residents of Santrokofi, Akpafu, Likbe, and Lolobi do not have voting rights in Hohoi since the Supreme Court has already ruled that the area falls within the OT region. The Apex Court, therefore, in an unanimous decision on Tuesday, January 5, 2021, ruled the whole High Court erred when it granted an injunction against the gazetting of John Peter Amewu, who has been inaugurated as Member of Parliament.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Efutu constituency, Alexa Fenyomarkin, has justified the military presence on the floor of Parliament during the election of a speaker in the early hours of January 7, 2021. Now, according to him, the marshals who were to protect individuals in Parliament were helpless at the time.
The heavily armed soldiers entered the chamber when calm had been restored, with a few legislators from the National Democratic Congress who insisted on the constitutional requirement for a secret ballot. The marshal had not made a judgment call to invite soldiers. Even the police present in the chamber were unarmed and observed proceedings. Alexa Fenyomarkin added that all lawmakers in the chamber felt unsafe as marshals were being threatened, assaulted, molested, and disrespected by some member of Parliament elect from the National Democratic Congress. When asked if he supported a probe into how the military entered the chamber, Fenyomarkin responded in the affirmative. Some armed military officers entered Ghana's parliament to break up a scuffle between rival lawmakers when the Clerk of Parliament called on the MPs-elect to secretly vote for a speaker for the 8th Parliament hours before President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo was due to be sworn in on Thursday, January 7th, 2021. The December 7th elections left a hung parliament without a dominant party to push through the appointment of a speaker. Members of parliament pushed and shoved each other before some military officers entered the chamber. They then faced each other and chanted over a dividing line of masked soldiers and police. When sanity eventually prevailed, Alban Bagbin was elected as the 8th Speaker of Parliament under the 4th Republic of Ghana.
The Ghana Education Service (GES) will today release a set of guidelines targeting parents as the planned reopening of schools draws closer.
In an interview, Deputy Director General of Management Services at the Ghana Education Service, Anthony Boateng, disclosed that the aim is for parents to take the lead in educating their kids on the preventive measures of COVID-19. He further added that educating children on some of the guidelines will ensure familiarity and also enable parents to feel more comfortable. Schools were closed in March 2020 when the COVID-19 pandemic hit the entire country. Government repeatedly postponed reopening till the President's last address, when he announced the full reopening effective January 15, 2021.
Still on our local front, the New Patriotic Party Member of Parliament for Seshwi Akontombra, Alex Jonobuatete, has escaped death by a hair's breadth after being involved in a car accident. The crash is said to have occurred on the Bibiani Road when he was returning from an inaugural ceremony at Menukum. Party's constituency secretary Harry Addo, who confirmed the incident, disclosed that upon reaching Mines Junction, an oncoming Toyota Camry car made a false turn, which compelled the driver of the MP to veer off in order to avoid a needless collision. No casualties were recorded. Moving on, former President of the Republic of Ghana, Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, whose sudden demise occurred on November 12, 2020 at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra, will receive a burial which is slated for January 24 to 27, 2021. The former president was a Ghanaian military officer and politician who led the country from 1981 to 2001 and also for a brief period in 1979.
Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings led a military junta until 1992 and then served 2 terms as the democratically elected president of Ghana. The funeral rite of the late former president, which was initially planned for December 23, 2020, will now be held from January 24th to 27th. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has released a press statement targeted at all diplomatic missions, international organizations, and honorary consulate accredited to the Republic of Ghana on the new date of the funeral and burial rites of the late former president. According to the press release, the deceased will be laid in state from January 24th to 26th at the foyer of the Accra International Conference Center from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. A mass shall be held on 26th January from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Holy Spirit Cathedral in Accra, and the burial service will be held at 9 a.m. on the 27th of January at the Independence Square in Accra.
Now moving on, Serbia's honorary consul to Ghana, Steve Mawunyega, has been found dead in his room. According to the reports filed, the 63-year-old diplomat was found dead in his bed at the house located in Cantonment, Accra. There's more.
No evidence of foul play has so far been indicated in the demise of the astute businessman. The Public Relations Officer at the Accra Regional Police Command, Deputy Superintendent of Police Ifya Tenge, who confirmed the news of Steve Mawenyaga's demise, said it was through the intervention of the daughter of the deceased that his lifeless body was found. She further stated that the daughter, whose name the police has decided to withhold, had been trying to reach her father on the phone for 3 days without success. It was only then that the daughter went to the house at about 12:30 a.m. and knocked on the father's door without success or response. She, with the help of a caretaker in the house, peeped through a window and found the body of her dad lying motionless. She then placed the distress call to the police ambulance service and other family members about the incident. Unfortunately, the report said the consul was dead by the time the ambulance arrived. According to a family source who spoke on condition of anonymity, they are in a state of shock as his death is a big blow. The family source added that they would await the results of an autopsy that will be carried out this week before any action will be taken. Steve Mawenyaga is a businessman and until his demise was a member of the General Assembly of the Honorary Consular Corps of Ghana. He was also in charge of relations between Serbia and the government of Ghana. Steve Mawenyaga was also a former Hearts of Oak board member. He was instrumental in the success in the late 90s into the new millennium under the Emmanuel Mate Commodore Mensah-led board of directors. Mawenyaga was the founder and executive chairman of Contrast Incorporated, an infrastructure project consultancy company in Ghana, and had shareholdings in other companies. He was a regular attendee of the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, and a member of the Capri Location, an international organization that promotes investments to the less endowed all over the world.
Our condolences to the family. Now moving on, members of the Teachers and Educational Workers Union who were to embark on a nationwide strike today have met with the officials of Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to resolve issues pertaining to improved conditions of service. Now prior to this, we are trying as much as possible to connect with El Ankara. He's the head of public affairs for Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Let's go and see the details of this. Okay, so we are trying as much as possible to connect with him. Meanwhile, let's go for this quick break. We'll return with some more stories.
And it's not a sad Truman capsules and so at their brain. I can't think of what's a good deal to me, dear Mitchell. At the account, now you're Beman and a wow.
Truman capsules. One mama ya bema bion.
Truman ye marime drew and mofra woni imfiedun watchi into me numbi. Sa jadi enkra to we FDA for shemu aja tum say she.
You're welcome back. So, El Ankara, head of public affairs for Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, is online. El, can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Hello, El.
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, if you can hear me, El, we all know the demands of the union. What are you doing to meet their demands? Do you have any plans?
Yeah, we have invited them to a meeting tomorrow to look into the issue. And there were a lot of issues that were brought to us, and we've been negotiating with them. We've been meeting with them. The last meeting we held was in October. That was, I think, October 20th. And at the end of that meeting, we had that we signed off on the 3 items that they had brought, the 23 concerns. In fact, they brought 25 concerns. We had concluded on everything. We had agreed on everything except 2. And we're encouraging them off on the 23, and then we deal with the 2 later. But they declined, and so we're like, okay, we'll continue working on the other 2, and then we'll come up and sign. So this is a continuous process. To declare a strike is something that surprised us a bit.
Okay, El, don't you think this meeting could have been done earlier? Why do you have to wait till this time?
Well, good question. It involves, these things involve a lot of organizations. It's Wages and Salaries Commission, Ministry of Employment, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Education. And so they're back and forth. Tewu leadership is very much aware of this. And there are financial implications, there are implications, HR implications as well. So the back and forth will happen, and then we'll come up with a solution at the end of it. So it isn't like we've laid the issue on the shelf and reclining in an armchair and relaxing. It is diligent work going on day after day. But the important thing is, of all the items we brought on the table, the larger majority of them, and the two items remaining are the ones we are all working together on at the moment.
Okay, El, at the moment, students are in school. What's happening to the students who are in school now with no teachers?
I will not be able to tell. I will not be able to tell from my perspective. We are hopeful that if strike is called off, students will enjoy the full benefit of whatever is being done for their teachers. Let's remember that salaries are being paid diligently. Let's remember that the negotiations are almost over. So the call for a strike may not be too so we will still urge the members of Tewu, let them understand that the issues have not been put aside. We're working on them, and we'll come to a conclusion in due course.
But are you aware, as it stands now, there are no teachers in classrooms? Are you aware of that?
Yeah, not that I know of at the moment. That is beyond my jurisdiction.
Okay. El, we will call you tomorrow to give us feedback with regards to this. Thank you so much for your time.
We'll be glad to do so. Thank you so much for calling.
All right. El Ankra is the head of public affairs for Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Business News is next after the short breather.
Do you want a pleasant sweet aroma in your environment? Venus Air Freshener provides a sweet and fresh odor for your home, school, hotel, hospital, leaving the environment with a nice fresh aroma that lasts longer. It also contains ingredients that fight against insects, cockroach, mosquito, and housefly, and the product is approved by the FDA. For bulk, contact 0555 874437 or 0242 824 952. Venus Air Freshener leaves a long-lasting freshness.
Pan-African News is live in 36 African countries and some parts of Europe. We are live on Facebook at Pan-African Television. We're also streaming live here in our studio, 48 Swanika Street, Abelimpe. Now, to the world of business. One of Ghana's leading indigenous manufacturers in alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, Casapreco Company Limited, has declared its readiness to capitalize on the incentives the African Continental Free Trade Area has introduced to produce more for consumers within the continent and outside of Ghana.
Casapreco is one of the first companies to have registered and exported to a party state under the AFTA arrangement after implementation began on January 1, 2021. It registered and exported its chief product, Alomo Bitters, to South Africa, which is a party state, and has signed the AFTA. Speaking in an interview on the implementation processes of AFTA trading in Ghana, the director in charge of international business development at Casapreco Company Limited, Francis Holly Aja, said the incentives presented by the free trade agreement means clients and importers in party states of products originating from Africa and, for that matter, of Casapreco products will be motivated to buy more due to the duty reliefs. He said because of that, Casapreco has shored up its infrastructure and machinery to meet up with the increase in demand that the AFTA has presented, and further indicated that due to the incentives provided by the AFTA, cost of production would see a reduction, and that would have triggered down effects on prices on shelves around the continent. According to him, the indigenous beverage making industry currently exports to 14 African countries and is looking forward to take advantage of the boost given by the continental free market to penetrate the other countries among the 34 nations who have ratified the AFTA. The director in charge of international business development at Casapreco Company Limited also praised the smooth processes experienced during the first shipment of Alomo Bitters under the AFTA.
Government has released plans to raise an amount up to $5.0 billion to support growth-oriented expenditures in this year's budget. There's more to this.
The Ministry of Finance, which made this known in a request for expressions of interest for some appointments for the 2021 medium-term ICM program, said it also wants to conduct liability management, including refinancing domestic debt and a buyback of some selected outstanding Eurobonds. The ministry revealed that it was considering to launch the International Capital Markets Funding program for the medium term this year. It also requested expressions of interest from qualified and reputable co-managers to partner the international transaction advisors for the various instruments under the program. According to the ministry, the instruments for the program consisted of some broad group of instruments such as Eurobonds, diaspora bonds, sustainable bonds, green bonds and social bonds, and syndicated term loans.
Now, as at 12 January 2021, these are the interbank city performance against some of the major currencies. Now, buying at 5.757 and selling at 5.763. The pounds is buying at 7.830 and selling at 7.839. Now, when we go to euro, the euro is buying at 6.995 and selling at 7.002. Naira buying 66.923 and selling at 67.357. The CFA is buying at 93.677 and is selling at 93.763. The source is coming straight from the Bank of Ghana. We bring you stories from our international partners, People's Dispatch.
Oh, it's incredible! Bang on target!
International front, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni arrived at his ranch in Kisosi, about a 5-hour drive from the capital Kampala by helicopter. As the 76-year-old leader walked into an interview with the NPR, he was jovial, cracking jokes, eager to show off the 10,000 cows that roam this ranch.
Is away from an election on Thursday, the mood in the country is far more grave. Museveni is facing a formidable challenge from Robert Kyagulanyi, a single-term politician better known by the stage name Bobi Wine. At 38, Bobi Wine has electrified young people across Uganda, and Museveni, who has historically clamped down on anyone who poses a real threat to his power, has unleashed his security forces on him. In a press conference on Tuesday, Bobi Wine said the military had killed his driver and that his home was raided. Even before the electoral campaign began, Bobi Wine was arrested several times. In one instance, he was tortured so badly he flew to the United States to receive treatment. In November, he was arrested once more, and 54 people were killed after protesters took to streets demanding his release. Journalists were attacked while trying to cover his arrests. Uganda has already changed the constitution twice, allowing Museveni to remain in power. In the past week, his government shut down social media, and his police chief warned that anyone causing trouble on election day will regret being born. NPR spoke to Museveni for more than an hour last week about the election, his opponents, and why, after 35 years in power, he is seeking his 6th term. These are some highlights of a conversation edited for clarity and length. Protesters were attacking other people because they have been told that they should cause an uprising here, like happened in Libya, like happened in Syria. So they are American agents. They are no longer part of a protest movement. They are now agents of foreign schemes here. According to the police procedures, if people are protesting, there's a way you handle it. But now, if they overrun, for instance, a police station, you will have to stop it by using lethal fire. Rioting and attacking civilians and attacking property is something that we cannot account on. He's not been arrested for putting forward ideas. He's been arrested for rioting and causing danger to other people. That's why he's been arrested. But there are other opposition leaders who are not being arrested. Why? Why him? There are other opposition leaders who have never even seen a police station. But these ones whom we are talking about, they want to use violence to influence people, and that one our society cannot allow. Ugandans don't have to work hard. Now that's a big struggle, which these known it all from the outside don't know, because in other parts of the world, people are pressured to work either by the environment, which is hostile, or by competition between man and man. But here, fools can survive. On why he believes George Washington could leave office after 8 years, but he can't after 35 years in power. Anybody can run the US. The problem is that, in our case, the direction is not set, so it's very risky. Very risky. It actually showed the lack of seriousness of those who say that you just go, just leave power. People don't know whether to go north or south. And you say you just go? Yes, if people are already clear that the direction is the north and there's no more argument about that, then anybody can lead. I can say now, you know the way, let me go. Yes, we are committed to the freedom of the press, but see, the press, especially the Western press, is arrogant. You don't want to learn. You know it all. Then you come on and impose your ignorance on our society. So that's the problem we are having. How can we continue on dealing with these arrogant? How can we continue on to deal with these arrogant ignoramuses? So if they change their attitude from arrogance to inquisitiveness and investigation, I am very happy.
Finally, on our international front, on January 11th, Sunday, the Constitutional Court in Slovenia staged the right-wing government's bid for a massive arms procurement. The court has ordered that, until further notice, the Janez Janša-led government have to stay back from lawmaking to secure a 780 million euros worth arms purchase for the Slovenian military to cater for NATO.
The Slovenian left party, Levica, which has been vehemently opposing the deal, has hailed the court verdict as a victory for their campaign and referred to it as a serious blow to the government, which even undemocratically banned a national referendum on the arms of purchase. Levica has also given a call to intensify the citizens' initiative for a referendum against the arms deal by collecting 40,000 signatures from citizens of the country. The right-wing government, led by Janez Janša of Slovenian Democratic Party (SDC), had proposed a bill in the National Assembly to earmark 780 million euros for the Slovenian armed forces. This amount would be used from 2021 to 2026 to procure equipment and arms for 2 medium-sized battalions that would serve the NATO. Levica has opposed this bill and accused that this proposal was unwanted and called for a consultative referendum on the arms purchase. Several opinion polls have also indicated that most people in the country are against the government's plan. But on November 27 last year, despite strong opposition from Levica, the right-wing majority Slovenian National Assembly voted against a national referendum on the proposed military spending. On January 11, Levica leader Luka Mesek said that the Constitutional Court today ruled in our favor and detained the implementation of the 780 million gun procurement law. This means Minister Tonin will not be allowed to buy these weapons until the convention of the Constitutional Court nor conclude contracts. This is a serious reminder to the undemocrats in the government that they can't just ban the referendum because they are afraid to lose it, because the law of 780 million, 75% of the Republic opposes it, but especially the warning that we still have a constitution in Slovenia, democracy and inalienable political rights. He had also stated that Levica has sent several constitutional judgment requests to the Constitutional Court and shared his optimism that if the court in the next stage finds that we are right, they will either allow the referendum or the law will be repealed.
Credit to our international partners because this part for international stories. Blaise is on standby for some sports news update.
Do you want a pleasant, sweet aroma in your environment? Venus Air Freshener provides a sweet and fresh odor for your home, school, hotel, hospital, leaving the environment with a nice fresh aroma that lasts longer. It also contains ingredients that fight against insects, cockroach, mosquito, and housefly, and the product is approved by the FDA. For bulk, contact 0555 874437 or 0242 824 952. Venus Air Freshener leaves a long-lasting freshness.
Welcome to the sports news segment here on Pan-African News. Blaise, yesterday you were telling me about Manchester United's game with Burnley. So tell us, how did that game go?
Yeah, so if United went, they go top of the league. So yes, they won by a slender 1 goal. Referee Kevin Friend was at the center of that match, and Kevin Friend nearly became an arch enemy of Manchester United because there were lots of refereeing decisions that United fans felt should have gone their way, but it went against them. So United, they are buzzing, they are top of the league. It's the first time in 7 years since Sir Alex Ferguson retired that they are on top of the league in January. So it's all excitement. It's all excitement. They are hoping to continue the fine form until the end of the season. Let's see how that goes. But then let's come to the local front, where Accra Greats Olympics, they are in their news. They have appointed Coach Yao Preko. He is a former Heart-to-Folk tactician. He's coming to take over the reins from Walker. Arnold Walker, that's his name, Arnold Walker. Arnold Walker has been taken ill for some time now. He's been missing in action. So, yes, he's now the coach of...
and what do you make of that?
The whole thing looks quite... it's sad because Arnold Walker is ill. His assistant is also ill. So, I think it was the best decision to have, hired the services of a new coach. So, there's more to that story. Let's get it.
The general manager for Great Olympics, Oluboy Komodo, has explained the rationale behind the club's decision to replace Daniel Arnold Walker with Yao Preko following his absence in their last 2 games in the Premier League. The gaffer, until confined to his sickbed, had been impressive for the Wonder Club in the ongoing season, but the 1970 and 1974 Ghana Premier League champions have suffered 2 defeats without his guidance. The former Kpando Heart of Lions trainer has been admitted at the Rich Hospital seeking treatment with his recovery date unknown. Management of the club was forced to take the decision to relieve the coach of his duties and appoint the former Black Star striker as the Ghana Premier League season continue. His successor, Coach Preko, will be hoping to get the needed results when they play Inter Allies at the Accra Sports Stadium in their next fixture. Coach Preko, before his appointment, had been without a club after he was denied the Black Satellites job. The former Heart-to-Folk Anderlecht and Fenerbahce ace has vast experience in coaching, having managed Nigerian Premier League side Ifeanyi Uba and serving as an assistant coach under Japanese gaffer Kenichi Yatsuhashi at Heart-to-Folk and Crystal Palace FC. Olympics, after 8 matches played in the ongoing season, have accumulated 11 points and occupy 7th place on the league table.
Away from that, let's go to the camp of the Black Starlets now. They have crashed out of the ongoing WAFU Zombie Under 17 Cup of Nations in neighboring Togo after a painful 1-3 loss to Cote d'Ivoire. There's more in the following report.
Ben Foucault's side needed just a point to progress to the semi-finals of the competition, but the team lacked firepower to win the tie. Some controversial decisions by Togolese referee Vicentia Ingonam Amedome frustrated the Ghanaians, especially in the second half of proceedings. The Ivorians broke the deadlock in the 10th minute through Moses Junior Razak Fofana. He latched onto a loose ball in the Starlets' defense to score the opener. In the second half, Charles Likpa recorded the second goal for the Ivorians, but Ghana replied 2 minutes later through John Batigi. Batigi connected from Captain Fatal's cross with an easy tap-in. The goal drew Ghana back into the game, but that was dealt a blow 4 minutes later after Cedric Emmanuel Don scored the 3rd goal from the spot for Cote d'Ivoire. The win sends Cote d'Ivoire through to the semi-finals of the tournament with 6 points matched. Nigeria also qualifies with 1 point, whilst Ghana bows out of the tournament after picking a single point from 2 matches. Meanwhile, the Ghanaian team has hinted that they will formally protest to WAFU and CAF about the performance of the centre referee Vicentia Ingonam Amedome, whose decisions they feel influenced the outcome of their WAFU B Under 17 Cup of Nations match against the Ivorians.
Now let's go to some NBA news, where the Los Angeles Lakers played an entertaining game of basketball at the Toyota Center, beating the Houston Rockets by 117-100. The win comes fresh of their 120-102 win over the Rockets on Sunday. There's more.
LeBron James and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope Both made 4 3-pointers, but it only took Caldwell Pope 5 attempts to get there, as opposed to James's 10. In the second quarter of the game, James freed himself up in the corner for a good look from behind the arch, and when the ball left his hands, he did his best Steph Curry impression and turned back to look at the bench. The game was filled with fun plays. As the third quarter was dying down, Rockets guard Sterling Brown attempted a dunk from the free throw line on Anthony Davis, and unsurprisingly, he got it swatted away. Anthony Davis ended the game with 5 blocks. The Lakers had 3 players with at least 2 blocks. The Lakers will continue their road trip tomorrow against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who they have yet to play this season. Thunder started their season with a 1-4 record, but they've since turned it around and won 4 of their last 5 games.
And that's how we call time on today's Midday Sports with me, Blessed Man Alomaso. Ivy Dede, Narkie, Teye is on standby with the latest updates in entertainment. Do stay.
Hello. Okay, why? My wife comes and send a message you. Hello. What's happened?
It's a child who will be a quiet say what?
Besides, friend of friend, I'm so here too. You have not testing messages here. And our office so I'm trying to tell you, she says, I
mean, so we a guy manu and may young who could look cry. And also wants a family drilling company limited for Kana.
What's it then? Family Drilling Company Limited.
Ye 2 borehole, biofuel, biogas, swimming pool, plumbing works in Naso, ye be, Frey 0240 333 111 and Nasa 0244 144 822.
Miampa and we want swimming pool, we see. We want to, we'll be here. Family Drilling, family Drilling.
What fast is your last set?
Me out with that.
As part of effort to adulate musicians for their contribution and impact within and outside Africa, our entertainment desk has been profiling a couple of them. Today we took a look at Umu Sangari.
Umu Sangara, born on February 25, 1968 in Bamako, Mali, to singer Aminata Diakite and Sidiki Sangara, is a Grammy Award-winning Malian Wasolo musician, sometimes referred to as the songbird of Wasolo. Wasolo is a historical region south of the Niger River, where the music descends from age-old traditional song, often accompanied by a calabash. In 1970, her father took a second wife and moved to Abidjan, leaving Sangara, her mother, and her siblings behind in Bamako. She began singing in the streets to help her mother, leaving school at an early age to do so. Her career began in 1973 when at the age of 5, she won an inter-kindergarten singing competition in Bamako, going on to perform before an audience of several thousand at the Omnisport Stadium. At 16, she went on tour with the group Joliba, touring in France, Germany, Netherlands, Caribbean, and elsewhere. Inspired by her reception on tour, Sangara returned to Bamako and established her own musical group. Sangara recorded her first album, Musolo, meaning women, with Amadou Bagwendo, a renowned maestro of Malian music. The album was very successful in Africa, with more than 200,000 copies sold. With the help of Ali Farkat Soure, Sangara signed with the English label World Circuit. At the age of 21, she was already a star. Umu Sangara is considered an ambassador of Wasolo. Her music has been inspired by the music and traditional dance of the region.
She writes and composes her own songs, which often include social critiques, especially concerning women's low status in society. Since 1990, she has performed at some of the most important venues in the world, such as the Melbourne Opera, Roskilde Festival, Gunau World Music Festival, Rumad, Oslo World Music Festival, and the Opera de la Mande. Many of Sangara's music concern love and marriage, especially freedom of choice in marriage. Her 1989 album Musolo was an unprecedented West African hit.
That's all for this afternoon. A recap of our headlines. Defeated Hohoi NDC parliamentary candidate appeals Supreme Court's ruling in favor of Amewu. Alex Afenyo-Markin defends armed invasion of Ghana's parliament. Teachers and Educational Workers Union meet with Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to resolve issues on improved conditions of service. In business, Kasapreko declares readiness to capitalize on continental free trade incentives. On an international front, Uganda's ruler Museveni defends violent crackdown in bid for Sith 10. A big thank you for all who watched across 46 African countries and some parts of Europe. For more news, do join us at 7 p.m. here on Pan-African Television. I am Ivy Abnadete Nakite.